What's good, everybody? This episode of the podcast is sponsored by DistroKid. They are the go-to for digital music distribution and the easiest way for musicians to get your music onto Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, TikTok, YouTube, and more. They offer unlimited uploads, and artists keep 100% of their earnings in stores 10 to 20 times faster than any other distributor. Fastest payouts. They help out with automatic splits, cover song clearance, and all kinds of other amazing tools and templates to help you get the most visibility for your releases. I dig this company and appreciate their business model that offers more features than any other distributor at the most affordable price possible for solo musicians, bands, DJs, studio artists, and any other creators that are producing music in their home, and they also offer label services as well. They've got 3 different tiers to offer creators that start as low as $22.99 a year. That's just $1.92 a month, and even their top tier is just $7.50 per month. And the best part about DistroKid sponsoring the podcast is that they are offering Dan Cable Presents listeners and viewers 30% off your first year of membership with DistroKid, making their already affordable prices even cheaper for you. Check out the link in the episode notes. I will also put it in my Instagram bio in the link tree. That link will give you 30% off that first year of service. Super stoked to have DistroKid sponsoring the podcast and cannot thank them enough for their long time support of this thing. This episode of the podcast is also sponsored by Puff Coffee. Puff is one of my favorite coffee shops in Portland, Oregon. They've got a location off 28th and Stark in Southeast. Their coffee is delicious, and everyone that works there is always super friendly. I had the pleasure of staying in their neighborhood for a month or so, and it was just a real treat to have this as my neighborhood coffee shop for a bit. And now I find myself going out of my way to get over there and get some coffee. Puff Coffee was started by the founder of Stumptown Coffee, and they are making small batch coffee roasted daily here in Portland. Their mission to find, roast, and deliver the most delicious coffees anywhere. Their small batch process means that they get to keep things interesting with experimental blends and single origin gems while always keeping the classics on deck. They've got a variety of beans to choose from, and if you're not in the Portland area, you can order their small batch coffee straight to your home through their website, and you can use the coupon code DANCABLE, all one word, for 20% off a coffee subscription. Links for Puff Coffee will be in the episode notes. Big thanks to Puff for supporting the show and for their amazing small batch coffee. Now let's get into the episode.
Looking down at the
What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Dan Cable Presents podcast. Thank you for tuning in to the program. Once again, if this is your first time listening, thanks for checking out the show. You can find fresh episodes coming at you every Tuesday. And if you want to help support this thing in a free way, you can do so by clicking subscribe on iTunes, clicking write a review, giving the podcast 5 stars if you feel like it is deserving of so, and that will help propel this thing into the tops of those iTunes charts, giving it more visibility on the national and international levels, helping strangers find the podcast, and just a great way to contribute to the growth and sustainability of this thing. Appreciate the hell out of all the folks that have already taken the time to do so. If you're not listening on Apple, just hit like, follow, subscribe wherever you are listening from. Tell a friend about the podcast. Check out the monthly playlist that I've been dropping every first of the month on Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube, you can go ahead and hit subscribe there. And just a reminder to people that have just been listening to the audio format for a while, all of the episodes are available on YouTube. If you want to watch these conversations happen, you can do that now at the Dan Cable Presents YouTube channel. Hope everyone is doing well out there. It has been a while since I've done a solo playlist episode. No guests, just me talking about some tunes that I've been listening to and other things going on in my life peppered in there. I just got back from Florida to visit my mom in the Tampa Bay area and just didn't have the time to squeeze in a chat with anyone after I got back. So we're shaking it up and going solo for the first time since implementing the video elements of this podcast. So we shall see how this goes. It will give me, for the YouTube viewers, give me the opportunity to play the videos or some live footage of the artists that'll be featured here as well. So that'll be cool. I've really been enjoying the video dynamic of things, and just the ways it's forcing me to be creative in different ways that I didn't really know were possible for the podcast in the past, or it just makes me think about things a little bit differently. I kind of got really into video editing when I started making these tuna sandwich videos for my Tuna Boy account. I don't know if you are aware, but I've been making a lot of videos reviewing tuna sandwiches. This is something that has been brought up from time to time on the podcast with different guests who are also fans of tuna sandwiches, but not really sure that I've gone too in depth about what I've been doing with that and the project that I've been working on in the Tuna Boy realm. So I've been posting these videos on IG and TikTok of me reviewing tuna sandwiches. I'm a big fan of the tuna sandwich. It's my favorite sandwich if it is done right. So I've been posting videos on IG and TikTok, and just posted a couple from Florida. Did a few sandwich reviews out there. Still got one more of those to put together, but it's just been kind of the thing that I do now. When I go to other cities, I'm seeking out the best tuna sandwiches, or maybe not even the best ones, just seeking out tuna sandwiches to try from all over the country now. And it's also just a fun way to maybe explore a new place, maybe sends you into a neighborhood that you haven't really gone to before. But sorry, my allergies are just absolutely killing me. I was a mess before I went to Florida, an absolute mess with the allergies. Just, I felt sick. I was so congested, and just the headache and the whole thing. And then I go to Florida, and I don't know if it's that humidity that just eliminates all allergies for me. I was there for 4 days. I have not felt that good in a couple months, probably. It's just that time of year here in Portland where everything is blooming, and it's just back and forth with the gray and the rain, and then to the sun, and it's just I'm a mess. I'm a real mess. But yeah, I'm just like doing research before I go to cities about where the tuna sandwiches are at. And my Florida trip in regards to that was a bit of a bust for anything incredible, but did find one solid tuna from this corner store near my mom's house in Apollo Beach, Florida, and it's called the Apollo Beach Mart. And my mom had gone in there maybe like 10 years prior to that, and it had just been in like bad shape, and it was not in great condition. So when I told her when I got there, she was like, "Oh, did you find some tunas to go get?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna go to this place called the Apollo Beach Mart." And she was just like, "No, you're not. You're not going there. You don't want to get anything in there." But I had to do it. I had to know what it was about. There was a few things that I had seen review wise that said they had a solid tuna. So she was very pleasantly surprised by the improvement of the store. She went in with me after she discouraged me to go. She had to know what it was about as well. So she came on in, and it changed her mind along with that sandwich. I bet she's going to go get that sandwich now. She also likes tuna sandwiches. So I think that I have just plugged her in to a place that's right around the corner from her house where she can get a good tuna sandwich for a very reasonable price too. You know, you go get a sandwich now, you're paying $15 sometimes for these sandwiches. You know, you're paying $18 for maybe a quality tuna if they're actually doing things that are not from a can. You know, you're paying for the quality of the fish and the whole process of the poaching and things like that. So, but sometimes you can go find a sweet tuna, not sweet in flavor. You can go find a great tuna that was made from a can, and it's still very cheap. So I linked her to this corner store, and there's just all kinds of these little rundown market gas stations in that area, in Florida. It's just such a wild place, just the geography and the roadside corner stores and restaurants and motels when you're along the highways, on these trips, maybe in between the larger cities when you're not traveling along a like something that feels more like a freeway. You're just kind of driving through these different, almost like rural areas. I can't say that word, rural areas. But my mom moved to Florida like 15 years ago, and the more I go there, the more I learn to appreciate it. I'm always kind of surprised by it. I don't think it's a place I'd want to do full time necessarily, but the people watching is great there. And I really do like the city of Tampa and St. Petersburg. And I got to go to Miami one time. That was really great. Surprised the hell out of me as well. Just a place that I did not think I was going to really enjoy. But these cities in Florida, there's just people from all over the world. So you're just hearing all of these different languages being spoken pretty regularly, which feels cool. And my mom took me to Ybor City, which is like a place where a lot of immigrants came and laid down roots there in the Tampa Bay area. And there's just like such cool architecture in that area. And there's a lot of those, those roots permeate in those neighborhoods still. And there's a lot of restaurants that have been there just a very long time. But you have people from all over the United States that have gone there as well. So you're hearing all these different accents just nationally. So you're getting a lot of the thick New York and Boston accents from the people that are just absolutely done with the cold, and they have migrated south either permanently or just as snowbirds. So I really do love that. And just being surrounded by water. You got the bay. My mom kind of lives right in the middle. It's like kind of like 30 minutes from Tampa Bay or 30 minutes from St. Petersburg, depending on which direction you go. And you are just surrounded by water. You got the huge bay. You got, all the different beaches. We went to some little beach towns, went and checked out Gulfport, Florida, which was this small little beach town that felt a little hippy dippy, and that was pretty cool. And yeah, just a wild place, and anyway, I'm having a lot of fun. Like I was saying, I'm having a lot of fun with the video editing. It is not something I knew that I was going to enjoy so much, but it feels so creative to me, especially making the Tuna Boy videos and making the clips for the podcast, where I'm able to maybe like implement different style, like different video content into what I have done. And yeah, it's been great. So I've been filming myself eating these sandwiches for a while now. I think there's about 40 different tuna reviews, which is absolutely psychotic that's what I've done with the last year of my life. But it's really helped me step my video editing up in ways. So a while back, I had this idea after I had done a few of these that maybe I would try to reach out to one of, some of my top tier tuna sandwich places in Portland, Oregon, and see who was maybe down to do a more fully produced episode of Tuna Boy, maybe inspired by things like Fuck That's Delicious from Action Bronson. I love that show. It's one of my favorite food shows. I mean, obviously all the Bourdain stuff has been incredible, and I really like Don't Feed Phil, because Phil is just such a goofy guy, and I just love his excitement for where he's going. So it's kind of inspired by things like that, and I'm not sure I really knew what direction it would take. But when I did the sandwich review for sandwich here in Portland, there's a few locations. They also have one in Ashland, and there's one in Seattle, Washington as well. But Mel, the owner over there, she asked me if I was interested in seeing how the tuna was made, and I was like, yes, but would you be cool if I brought a film crew to do this, and we do, we film the whole process and try to make something of it? And she was very excited by the idea, and I wrangled this crew of people that are really enthusiastic about these videos that I've made, and just think that the Tuna Boy project as a whole is very fun, and they've just been super down to give me their time and be down to come film these things, or just the whole editing process and the direction that it is taken has been very cool. And it's a very collaborative project that has come of it that I was not expecting. And it's really nice because this podcast is very like DIY, and I really kind of like having the control and the creative control over everything, where with the tuna thing, well, I'm acting as a director in some ways, and I'm definitely like contributing to the production and like the ideas for it. It's also just a very open room for ideas amongst the other people, and I think it's been beneficial to maybe like let go of what direction it's going to take in some ways, or at least in some of the initial rounds of the editing, because it has gone to a place that I never knew that it could go, and it's great. It's beautiful. I'm really excited to get to share it with people. It's still probably, I think it's a couple months maybe away, of being able to share it with people, but it's shaping out to be to go a little more in depth than I knew that I thought maybe it could go from the beginning. And we're just filming all of these ridiculous like B-roll stuff. Like tomorrow we're going to a lake and we're gonna film me in the lake and pull together some intro content there. So I'm excited to get to share it. I'm excited to see where it goes. Also, as far as Portland, I just had a 10 out of 10 tuna sandwich. If you live in Portland, Oregon, go check out 9th and Fitz. This is not a sponsored ad. This is just I want to plug in for Brad. He's a nice dude over there. It's inside of Beer Mongers in Southeast, and it's only open from like 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. I've only had the tuna, but it was top tier, 10 out of 10, incredible East Coast style, New Jersey, Atlantic City style tuna on this beautiful bread, this beautiful seeded roll, hoagie style. And those East Coast people, they're doing something different with the sandwiches. They know something that maybe we don't. I don't know. But it's inside Beer Mongers, and I think it's a kind of a newer addition to the city. So go over there, support Brad, get a lights out sandwich, and I think we should get into some music because I've been blabbering for a while about Florida and tuna and all of these things. So the first track I want to share is from a group called Black Decelerant, which is a collaborative musical project by Kari Lucas, also known as Contour, and Omari Jazz. Omari is one of my favorite musicians based out of Portland, Oregon. Just so good, just amazing producer, great beat maker, and just always seems to create worlds with the music that he puts out. And I hope that I can get him on the mic sometime this year. But together they explore the traditions of spiritual jazz, blending contemporary tones and textures to create sonic meditations on themes of Black existence, life, mourning, expansion, limitation, and the individual and collective experience. A lot of this music has been made remotely, as Contour is based in Charleston, South Carolina, and the before mentioned Omari Jazz is based right here in Portland, Oregon, and they started making music in 2020 remotely, and they've only put out a couple tracks thus far, but just beautiful instrumental music, the type of music that can quickly propel me into meditation mode if I have the space to do so. And there's these really cool videos on YouTube for each track that they've put out as well. They each kind of feel like these short films, very rad to watch along with the listening experience. And with or without the visual, the music is thought-provoking, but I think the visuals really elevate the experience. So I'm pumped to hear more of what these guys are cooking up. This is the music and the visual, if you're watching on YouTube, for a track called 5 from Black Decelerant. Let Black Decelerants guide you into meditation. Stoked for their record to drop so I can fall deeper into that. I know they just played a Portland show last week. I was really bummed to miss that while I was out in Florida. I've seen Omari perform a couple times live, and it's always really great. So I'm sure it's killer as the duo with him and Contour doing the thing live. So be on the lookout for that. I will put all the links for everybody featured in this episode in the episode notes, so you can give them a follow if you dig what you hear. It is free to follow people and super helpful for their visibility, so you should absolutely do so. If you have, it takes like 1 second to find somebody's Instagram, or follow them on Spotify so they can get their numbers up there and give them more opportunities to get on playlists and whatnot. So also just check out everything Omari Jazz has done. I'm new to Contour through this project, so I have some catching up to do on that side, but just check out everything Omari's done. Just always making beautiful music. And next up, we've got one of my favorite rappers, Seafood Sam. This dude is out of Long Beach, California, probably about 40 miles from where I grew up in Southern California. And this dude's delivery is just something I was grabbed by right from the get-go, and is something I'm super into. Just love the style of the production for all of his tracks. Great samples. He put out a record a few months ago called Standing on the Shoulders of Giants. Very dope record, and I included one of my favorite Seafood Sam tracks on my May 2024 playlist. It's called Pearly Gates Playlist, and there is a video for this one as well.
Shit shaking Chris Tucker off the angel dust. You gotta be careful to what you telling them, cause sometimes thoughts get darker than my melanin. Yeah, you win some, then you lose some. Keep a G or be a bitch, nigga, choose one. All that talking about it will never prove nothing. When it's time to go, you better move some. Yeah, you win some, then you lose some. Keep a G or be a bitch, nigga, choose one. All that talking about it will never prove nothing. When it's time to go, you better move some. I ain't with none of the silly shit. Urkel to Stefan is how fast I really flip. I got no time for idiots, good in every hood and still a non-affiliate. I made it this way with no recipe, smooth be the specialty. So gator talk is what you get from me. The way the sun kissed the gold, I was meant to be king. Same soul as Al Green, I was destined to sing. I made a little money off this rap shit. When I get the whole thing, mom's is getting half of it. I double up then repeat. Wide body, hard top, marshmallow the seats. Two-step right before I hit the shoulder lean. I shot the sheriff, then stabbed the deputy. Ruthless, I think it's way too easy. Swap me, gold carrot net.
I shot the sheriff and then stabbed the deputy is one of the hardest lines. So much pocket on that one, but that moment is one of my favorites from that particular track. And if you dug that one, definitely go check out the rest of that record and the rest of Seafood Sam's catalog. And before mention those playlists that I've been putting out every first of the month, it's 40 tracks, really spread out genre wise, usually just kind of a snapshot, I guess, of what I'm listening throughout the month, some things that are making it into my DJ sets, and then, you know, my sad boy singer-songwriter stuff. It's, you know, it's got some electronic upbeat dance stuff, so it is very spread out, but I always, you know, it can certainly be listened to on random, and I think it's fun to listen to them on random just to see what songs end up linking together because it is spread out genre-wise, but I also always do like a front to back intent, like the way I intended people to listen to it as well, or at least a way that I think can kind of bridge everything together, being this genre fluid thing. So those are available every first of the month. That last one was from the May 2024 one, Seafood Sam with Pearly Gates playlist. Great track. And the next one is this is a song, another one that ended up on a playlist of mine. I think it's on the June playlist, the most recent one. And what I like to do with these playlists sometimes is include some things that are not necessarily new, but they're maybe new to me, or maybe a track, you know, from the 60s or 70s that is maybe a deeper cut or something along those lines. And the next track is called Amour Fou. I know very little about this band. There doesn't seem to be too much information about them other than that they are this music collective from France, and they've only put out one record, and it came out in 2019, which is called Collection Particulière, and it's brand new to me. I was fed a track off this record from the Spotify algorithm, which I have the settings dialed in typically to just loop the record or playlist that I am listening to. But when it's not, every once in a while, the record ends or the playlist ends that I'm listening to, and it just sends you somewhere. And sometimes it sends you somewhere great. And for as much shitty things that happen in the streaming world and like the problematic nature of like what Spotify is as an entity and how they just kind of fuck artists, the algorithm, depending on what you're listening to, I think regularly, the algorithm can be absolutely pretty strong for what I have going on as far as like the things that it hits me with occasionally. And I'm grateful that it sent Omerta my way, because as soon as I heard the track that it put on, I just immediately put that record on and I listened to it front to back, and I was just in it. I was compelled from the jump to hit it from the top, and it's got this experimental punk spirit to it, and the vocals just sound beautiful. It's often sort of this ad-lib delivery rather than singing, and it's very cool, especially really having no idea what the track is about because she's singing in French. It's all just kind of feeling through it during the listening, and the vocal, I think the tones of it, because it is more of that ad-lib style, it can, you know, maybe let you know where it's coming from tonally, but it also just acts as this other layer of instrumentation. So this is not a new song but it's new to me. It's Omerta with Amor Fu.
Tu es mes yeux, ce que je suis à toi. Je mourrai de ton regard. Tu m'habites complètement. Tu me couvres. Mon sang coule dans le tien. Mon corps se chauffe à la brûlure de ton corps. Mon corps s'identifie au tien. Je t'aime totalement. Ton cerveau glisse du mien. Ma pensée anticipe ta pensée. Ta raison repousse ma raison. Et la liberté de notre amour illumine notre vie. Tu mourras de ma disparition. Je tairai le souffle qui me tient hors de toi. Je ne serai plus jamais vierge de toi. J'existe parce que tu es. Tu franchis toute ma vie. Tu es moi. Ma volonté, toute la lumière viendra me prendre. Je te choisis intégralement. Je ne m'épuiserai jamais de toi.
Beautiful track, killer record. I hope I'm saying the name of the band right. Like I said, there's just really not too much information, so I can't really find any interviews where they introduce the band or the band says their name, but there is a YouTube video. I mean, there's no visual, but you can find this song on YouTube, and I'll link it, but it has all of the lyrics, and you can translate it to English, and it's just this pretty gut-wrenching love song, and my life, I think, feels very chaotic and beautiful right now at the same time. There's a lot of cool things happening and some cool projects that are coming to completion that I've gotten to be a part of, but there's also just like a lot of heaviness. So I think a song like that previous one and just that whole Omerta record just seems to really express that full range of emotions in this very particular way. And it just kind of captures that beauty and the chaos and the hurt maybe as well. So love that I stumbled upon that record. Love having experiences like that in general, where you're just hit with something new, and instead of because I listen to a lot of records, but we're still very much in this playlist era, and I enjoy making playlists. I like listening to playlists as well. But when you have that kind of experience where you hear a song randomly, whether it's a playlist or, just in the depths of an algorithm, and it makes you want to go find out more about that band, or just one track makes you want to listen to an entire record, it's a special thing. It feels like the magic of music and art. So that's what I got out of that Omerta record and that particular track. All right, next up we've got new music from one of my favorite bands from Austin, Texas, and former guest of the podcast, a band called Good Looks. They put out a new record recently that I finally got a chance to listen to front to back the other day, and it is just so killer. Just love the songwriting and the lyrics with this particular collection of tunes. I mean, Tyler, who fronts this band and writes the lyrics, has always been great lyrically, but this particular collection of tunes just seems to really push it to the next level. And I did a podcast with these guys a little over a year ago at the Tree Fort Music Fest in Boise, Idaho. They're just super sweet dudes and putting out some of my favorite rock and roll right now. The record is called Lived Here for a While. It's available wherever you listen to music. You can pick up vinyls as well. It's out on Keeled Scales, which is this really cool label based out of Austin, Texas. And this track is called Self-Destructor. Great video for this one as well.
Caitlin, it's crooked. Caitlin, it's crooked. Caitlin, it's crooked. Crooked in your mind. Didn't like your ideas. Didn't like your ideas. Didn't like your ideas. I like it just fine. Show me where it comes from. Show me where it comes from. Show me where it comes from. I can show you mine. I know that it's painful. I know that it's painful. I know that it's painful. Put your past behind. Sorry if I didn't seem like I was listening. Sorry if my face was full of criticism. Walk into a room, try to pick a fight. Make yourself a victim. Self-destructive. Goodbye. Self-destructive. Goodbye. Goodbye.
If you're watching on YouTube and you got to see a snippet of that video, or if you're not watching on YouTube and you have the time and you enjoyed that track, aside from going to check out that entire Lived Here for a While record, highly encourage checking out that video. I think it adds a lot of fun and depth to the track. You get to kind of see those dudes just having a blast together, and I think that is my experience from getting to hang out with them on a couple occasions, is that it's just this very warm, fun bunch of dudes who are maybe razzing each other pretty frequently, as well as showing a lot of love for each other. So I think that video maybe captures some of that spirit of Good Looks, and also just very worth checking out everything else on that Keeled Scales label out of Austin, Texas, as well as the Bummer Year record, which is the previously released album and debut album from Good Looks. But this new record just takes it to the next level. All of the tones on the record are so dialed in, and I think maybe captures the energy of like what Good Looks feels like live. It is captured in this new record, and I've just been enjoying the hell out of it. So shout out to the fellas from Good Looks. Love those guys, and if you had the opportunity to see them live, I would encourage you to do so, because it's a great show. And we've got one more track to play this episode out with, but do just want to say thank you to everybody out there for tuning in to this episode, or if you're a regular listener and you tune in frequently, appreciate you being here, checking things out, enjoying the conversations. I hope this is something nice to shake things up outside of the regular conversations that are happening. And if you're new to the cast, I would just encourage you to go back, check out some previous conversations, everything from episode 400 And On 400 was a retrospective hosted by my friend Eyal Alves, who interviewed me, and we got to just kind of talk about my background a little bit and how this thing got going. And that set off everything being filmed and recorded in that way, not just the audio, but filming all these episodes. So there are, I guess, like 15 filmed episodes that you can check out, but episodes coming at you every week, usually myself in conversation with a band or an artist of all genres. Sometimes I'm talking to industry folks or, label heads, things of that nature. And hoping to, every once in a while a comic comes on, hoping to kind of broaden things. Would love to maybe have some actors on. I love movies and TV. It'd be great to dive in with some directors of some sort, especially as I'm dipping into the film world with some of the Tuna Boy stuff that I'm doing. And I have some friends that I've been working with for a long time that are more involved in the TV and film world. Speaking of TV and film, on the plane back from Florida and on the way there, I've been watching the Mr. and Mrs. Smith series. I finally wrapped that. The Amazon series and spin-off of the Mr. and Mrs. Smith movie, the Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt movie, which I thought was just like whatever, a fine movie. I saw it when it came out, but that series was great. I loved it. It was so much fun. And the way that they did all of the episodes, where it's very episodic, and there's a lot of fun guest stars in it. And Donald Glover, man, that dude is just incredible, whether it's like as a writer or a director or an actor or a stand-up comic or as a musician. It's just, I think he's just somebody who's put out so much cool stuff in so many different realms of, art. It's absolutely, it's insane, but also very inspiring and special to watch. And Maya Erskine is his co-star in that show, and she's amazing. And everything that I've seen her in, I've really enjoyed, and their dynamic together is so much fun. The show is just super fun, and it moves quickly, and it's action packed. It's funny. It's sexy. It's cool. Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to say I didn't have high expectations, because I love Donald Glover so much in everything that he's done. Atlanta is one of my favorite shows. So it was not that I didn't have high hopes or expectations for it, but I just didn't know that I was going to have so much fun watching it. So I encourage you to check out Mr. and Mrs. Smith, as well as Shoresy, the greatest show maybe of all time, is back in action. The third season of Shoresy, which is Jesus, dude, these allergies are just burying me. I'm taking the pill every day. But anyways, Shoresy, third season of Shoresy. If you're familiar with Letterkenny, this is a spin-off of that show, but you do not need to enjoy Letterkenny to love Shoresy. This is seriously, one of my favorite shows of all time. I mean, obviously, I play hockey. I love hockey, so I have a little bit of a bias towards it because it's based on a hockey team. But I do not think that you need to love hockey or know anything about the game to enjoy this show. Jared Kiso, who is the creator of Letterkenny and Shoresy, amazing. I could just keep watching this show on repeat. Very short episodes, like 20-minute episodes, and there's only like 6 or 7 episodes per season, so very easy. You could watch season 1 and 2 in the same day and cruise through it. The third season is about to hit Hulu, but I have seen the first 3 episodes, and just a beautiful show. Also, on my way home from Florida, which I find fitting now. I didn't even like think about this, but I watched the Tom Petty documentary on Amazon as well, which is the not the Running Down a Dream, which is an all-time favorite of mine. That one's incredible. But I watched the Making of Wildflowers, that album, and it was so good. I think it was as good as Running Down a Dream, and just very focused in on the making of this one record. And it was the record he made with Rick Rubin, so he's pretty involved in just talking about the record through this, along with his bandmates. Mike Campbell, Ben Mont is in it, and Steve Ferroni. It's really great, and I know at this point for some people Rick Rubin is kind of this love it or hate it dude, but I enjoy his podcast a lot. I've been listening to it pretty frequently. I like listening to his conversations with people and like what he brings out of people. I think it's like pretty fascinating that he is this dude that has no musical abilities, but does seem to have a pretty magical ear for things, to have worked with so many great artists over the years, and he seems to bring something to the table, because he keeps getting invited to produce these records with people, and often it's pretty successful. So really enjoyed the Making of Wildflowers. If you're a Tom Petty fan and you have not seen that one, I don't know why I slept on it. Petty is one of my favorite people. He's from Florida, and I watched that one on the way home, and I was very locked in for it, for sure. One of his daughters plays a pretty big role in it as well, so it was interesting to hear her perspective of like what was going on in his life at that time while he was making Wildflowers, and just getting a lot of insight on that process and seeing how things went down, and just like where he was at in that time of his life. Very cool.
It's been almost 20 years of the Heartbreakers. And if I only made records with the same people all the time, I'd never learn, I'd never grow. Rick Rubin kind of guided me back into a musical place where I feel very comfortable. But I never really did hire him. He just kept coming back.
Baby, let's go to the cabin down below.
This time of my life, I feel much more comfortable being myself.
Let me get to the point. Let's roll.
There are things that are so indicative of him being in a time of change.
Radio loud, I'm too alone to be.
I was just trying to write a collection of tunes, but when I hear it, I can see that it was working in the back of my mind somewhere.
Those are my Dan's picks, brought to you by DistroKid. For real, hit the DistroKid link. This segment is not by DistroKid. This isn't really a segment at all, but the DistroKid link is in the episode notes, and I do appreciate them. It's crazy that they've been supporting the podcast for like 3.5 years. Very cool. Very stoked, and appreciate them very much. And to play this episode out, we're gonna play it out with another Portland, Oregon based artist called Maita, and they just put out a brand new track called I Used to Feel Different. This is maybe one of my favorite track, if not my favorite track in the entire Maita catalog. I had Maita, aka Maria Maita Kepler, on the podcast I guess pre-pandemic. It was probably like 2018, 2019. It was a really long time ago. It was before Maita's Best Wishes album came out, and she's just a great songwriter, and the band performances go so hard. They get really heavy at times. I just saw something posted by Nevada Soul, who has been on the podcast before and is also one of the rotating members of Maita, and he posted this thing of like Maita being described as this folk band, and then it just like cuts to a moment at their show. It's just like this very heavy house show going on. So yeah, love the songwriting from Maria, and this new single, I Used to Feel Different, is it's been something that's been heavy in my rotation. I just absolutely love it. It's also on my June playlist, so check that out. Check out all the Maita tunes. I think a new record is on the way, so it'd be great to catch up with Maria. I gotta get her back on the mics. There's been so much music that has come out since the last time that we chatted, and if you dug anyone on this that has been featured on this particular episode, like I said earlier, please give them a follow. It's free to do so. It helps so much with visibility. And speaking of visibility, there's a video for this Maita track that's going to play us out. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can check it out there, or you can check it out separately. Again, the track is called I Used to Feel Different, and that's it. Thanks for hanging with me solo this week, and should be back in action with more interviews next week. And it's a program. That's the Jelly Jams. We'll catch you on the flip side, Portland, or wherever you are listening from. Check out Tuna Boy. That's also in the episode notes.
Dreamed of